Hi, and welcome back to the Wicked Thrifter Resell channel. We're back at it. We went to a couple more Goodwills today to see if we can find some items that we can flip on eBay for a profit. The last few weeks, the struggle has been kind of finding items that I would purchase to sell online. I know if you look on the shelves, it sure looks like they're full, but you know, with the fact that they are listing items themselves online for resale, as well as there being a tremendous increase of online resellers, it is getting harder and harder to find the items that I find desirable and in my profit margin for resale. Like I said, I try to find items that I can at least list for $25 or has a really fast sell-through rate. Currently, I'm having a harder and harder time finding those items, and I'm supplementing it a lot with items that I'm picking up at estate sales or online auctions. Online auctions are getting tougher as well. The competition is pretty fierce, and the items that people are selling on those auctions are usually people who are trying to hold estate sales and are doing them online now instead of just a local market to try to get more people's attention and more bids on the item itself. So far on this trip, I haven't found anything that has grabbed my attention. Here, Halloween's knocking on the door. It is fall. People are starting to decorate for fall, so I'm going through these with a fine-tooth comb. Usually I'll go through a couple times each aisle just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I thought this mug was pretty interesting with the cat inside. It looked like a Chinese lucky cat. And this is my first pickup of the day. It's a John Coiner mid-century potter, usually like 60s, 70s. And this was a large mug stein, and I grabbed it. Even with a couple flaws, it'll still sell decently well. The next find was this batter bowl. It's by Maple City Pottery, I believe. I grabbed it because of it being like a salt glaze and a Christmas theme. This was the nicest find of the day. This is a studio pottery piece. The artist is Zappa. I don't remember the first name, unfortunately, but I only paid $8.99 for it. It's signed on the bottom. And usually you find these tureens not in this great a condition, and they usually don't have the ladle. Since it had the ladle, even though I've kind of inundated with tureens or covered serving dishes, I grabbed it anyway. That glass piece I just looked at kind of gave me fire and light vibes. I've never found one in the wild. Hopefully that wasn't one that I missed. However, with big platters and plates and glass flat items like that, I'm having a harder time picking up. Since they've switched over to ground and bandage, and I don't know that there's any correlation to this, I'm having a lot more damage in my items. I grabbed this though, with Christmas coming up. This is a crystal glass Advent wreath. So you see those little holes there. That's where you put your taper candles, and there's 5 spots for tapers. I thought those were nice, however, there was lots of chips. And maybe you can let me know below, but the holly leaf and berry bowl set here, it looks like a punch set. I'm hoping I didn't miss out on something, but now that I'm looking at it, I do see a big crack in the leaf there, so it's not a big deal, but let me know if you think that was left in or just a hobbyist piece. Then I spied this. It's Vectorsbach, I believe is how you say it. I have always said Watchersbach, which is probably completely wrong. But I grabbed this. It was a mousse star-shaped like dessert bowl or serving dish. And down below, I'm kind of pointing to it, is a blown glass, like a large Santa Claus. It says Mercury Glass Santa, but it looked like a lower end, but I wasn't sure. And how big that was, I wasn't quite confident that it wouldn't have some damage already in there, let alone if I were to ship it, it would have some damage. And then I grabbed this. Cast iron seems to sell fairly well for me. Anything in the bird motif or subject matter tends to sell fairly well for me, so I grab it, especially if it's rustic. Now, in regards to brown bag cookie molds or those Pampered Chef ones, they used to sell for really decent money, depending on the pattern, and you could sell them as soon as you listed them a while back, but now not so much. I've got a bunch in my eBay store that have been sitting for 1 or 2 years. I'm considering unlisting them and then putting them together as a lot and selling them. Here was most likely a Fenton hobnail green basket. Again, I've probably said this in prior videos. Baskets don't sell for me. I have a shelf full of glass baskets and they're just going to probably sit there for a while until people start wanting them again. Easter tends to be more of a time that they go, obviously because of the basket idea. This was a Mexican pottery piece, but it had a chip. Now, I've bought and sold one of those Sylvester cat planters before, but they don't sell for very much. And I thought this pottery was nicely done. Again, I have so much. I'm trying to pick and choose depending on my mood that day. And I believe this is another store, so we're checking out the shelves here in the collectible aisle. I'm not finding a ton. Usually this spot is where I find a lot. I thought these were miniature pottery vases, but they were just salt and pepper shakers. And these caught my attention. They're seashells, but they were turned into like rosebuds. They had a lot of chipping, so I chose to leave them behind. There's some milk glass there, and then there's this carved cat, but it is just a generic version of that. I'm not picking up a lot of milk glass right now, depending on what it is. I'll pick up like a swung glass vase or a fairy lamp or anything of any of the unique pieces, but just the standard milk glass I'm not really grabbing right now. I believe this is another Goodwill. This day I probably went to 5 different Goodwills and I literally got 5 items that I can resell. Again, it's been sparse. I've been trying to change up the days that I go. If the days are no longer producing items that I can sell, then I tend to change it up around a little bit just to see if I can get a good pattern going again. This store usually prices things pretty outrageous. But like I said in a prior video, they will have some nicer quality items. Like here's an example. This mug I thought was pretty cool because it's Felix the cat. But they wanted $12.99 for it. And the reason why I was looking at it is because it had a 1990s, like early 90s figurine in it. Sorry, it's delayed. I'm not showing you the cat. But this NHL coffee mug got my attention too. I probably should have grabbed that because I could have got probably $18 for that. But that Felix mug, like I'm going to come in and show you here. The figurines in there with his little bag. But at $12.99, that wasn't worth it. Here's your recap. I just want to say thank you again for taking the time to watch the videos. I know I've been changing things up a little bit here and there to see what works better with my workflow with the kids. But I do appreciate it, and hopefully you can stick with me as I go through these transitions to see what works and what you guys like, and I'll see you in the next video.